but it's probably pretty good. Well, when it comes to presidential debates, action can sometimes speak louder than words.
So while most of America listened to what the candidates had to say, our next guest was closely watching their nonverbal cues, which can make or break them. Here with her analysis is Susan Constantine, a body language expert and an executive leadership coach. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with the strong ones. Let's give people props out there. I know one that you thought did well was Marco Rubio, which is fantastic because he's probably still recovering from the water thing, which I thought was adorable. It made him human, but maybe not presidential. You liked him?
I did. You know, his body language really was consistent with his words. The one thing that I look for is consistency. Does the words match their body language, and does the facial expressions also say the same thing? His shoulders were broad, he was opened up, his gestures were very much on point. He didn't go outside of his frame, he wasn't way out here flailing his hands. He was very much controlled, made great eye contact, and there was no stress in his face.
Right.
I give him an A+.
Let's move on. We don't have much time, Susan, but talk about Donald Trump for a second, because he had that squinting kind of stare on his face for most of the time. And I understand it's his look. He was also getting some tough questions, but was that successful? There it is with the puffy mouth. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the puffy mouth, that's one thing, okay? That's smugness. But his eyes, when they narrow, is really more concentration. Let me really focus in on that question. Yeah. That's what he was doing there. But the thing is, what I noticed about the Trump was these very big, large, grandiose types gestures. Is that number one is that can be also part of bolstering and stretching the story. So you have to be very careful. When you stretch and you open up like primates, it shows confidence and dominance and control. But at the same time, it also can send a message with the other clues along with it is being arrogant and also superior.
Interesting. I know you thought some of the weakest, Paul, you did not like. Rand Paul. Why? What didn't you like about that?
Well, first of all, he was very combative. You know, his gestures were very wide and big, too, because he was really trying to dominate. That was what he was doing. But unfortunately, you could see a lot of anger that was not only just in his eyes, because he kind of rolled his eyes around in disdain for Christie, but you also saw the anger in his jaw rolled, and you could see it in his mouth. And also, too, he kind of defocused. He didn't give eye contact, gave the other candidates the cold shoulder, and it really came across as being very defensive.
Yeah, you also said that Jeb Bush, you know, sort of melted in with weak body gestures, lacking authority.
Yes.
I agree with that. We got to run. Susan, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, coming up next, find out how this man made one of the most rare and bizarre plays.